Hey guys, it is Luke from RetroRevival here, and today, as you can see, I am doing another custom LEGO minifigures video, and today I've got another music group, and today is Guns N' Roses, a classic band. I absolutely love their music. I'd love to see them live one day. They're just a classic band with so many great hits, and if you don't know who they are, then you've probably been living under a rock your entire life. Nah, but seriously, if you don't know who they are, you've probably heard some of their songs. They're a very famous band. I absolutely love their music. So without further ado, let's get into the first figure. So here is the first figure, the band's frontman Axl Rose, and this figure looks awesome. So let's start off at the top like I always do. His hair mould is the right colour, but it's a little bit short. It could do with being a bit longer, but you can easily tell who it is. Then going down to the face, you can see he has this red bandana. He's very well known for wearing bandanas. He's got his shades, which actually look really cool, and his mouth. Then going down to his torso, he has a t-shirt on. You can see the top of his neck. He's got two cross necklaces, and the logo on his t-shirt is of a woman. It's really nice and detailed, and I've just had to move his mic stand because it's in the way. But on his legs, you can see there's some tears. He's got a chain going down there. He's got his shoes. He's got a zip down the middle of his jeans, and there's this little bit of cloth here, which I'll explain in a second, as it has something to do with the back of the figure. But these are really nice detailed legs. And see, as I've just mentioned it, I may as well just say about this little mic stand, it's a really nice build. It's golden, of course. It's got a little mic on the end there. Now I think it'd be easier to show you the rest of this figure if I took away the microphone. So now on the sides, you can see on the arm, he's got the top of his t-shirt, and he's got a chain around his wrist and a couple of tattoos. It's the exact same on the other side, just with different tattoos. So you can tell they went out of their way to show you a lot of detail. And I'm going to come back to the arms when I turn around to the back, just because I have a problem with them. However, there's still some printing on the side. On the side of his jeans, you can see that checkered cloth again, and the side of his shoes. And then when you go around onto the back of the figure, of course you can see most of the printing is on the back of the legs, and this is because he's got a flannel shirt tied around his waist, and this is really nice and detailed, and you can see the grey bottoms of his shoes, and he's got a few grey creases on the back of his shirt. And the problem I had with the arms is that the printing doesn't actually follow around onto the back or the front of the arms, it's just sort of on the side, which is really annoying because I want it to look nice and flush. But I've seen this happen with a lot of the figures that I've bought, so I think it's just a common problem. So next up is one of the other main members of the band, and this is their lead guitarist, Slash. Now the biggest problem for me with this figure is actually the hair and the hat. Of course, Slash is known for having long hair and a top hat, and this is sort of like a pirate's hat. I know it's the only mould that was available, but it'd be really nice if it was a proper top hat. But you can see who it's supposed to be, so it's not too much of a problem. Then going down to his face, this is very bland. This isn't a very good part of the figure at all for me. You can see his shades and a little bit of a smile, but that's really it. Then going down to his torso, you can see the top of his neck. He's also wearing a t-shirt, this time in grey, with 3 skulls on it, and there's a few other creases that sort of show that it's baggier than the other shirt, and he's also got a necklace on. He also comes with this dark green guitar. I don't know why they gave him a green guitar, but you know. Now going down to the legs, he's also wearing jeans with some tears in them, and you can see the bottom of his black shoes. It's not very easy to show on the camera. Now going over to the side, the thing that stands out the most are his arms, and he's also got the grey t-shirt cut off on the arm, just like Axl. He's also wearing a bracelet and has some tattoos. This is the same on the other side, however the tattoos are a bit different again. And there's only a little bit of printing on his legs, and that's where his shoes are, and there's also some creases up the side of his jeans, but you can barely even see it there on there. Now going on to the back, there's a tiny bit of printing where you can see the back of his shoes and the bottom of his shirt. And next up is the Guns N' Roses bassist, McKagan, and as a bassist myself, I can tell you this guy is a great bassist. However, this figure isn't so great. So let's start off with the hair. The hair is spot on, however I think it's a bit too light. It needs to be in a different colour. However, the mould is just perfect. Then going on to the face, this is the biggest problem for me, which actually ruins the rest of the figure. This doesn't look like Duff at all, and I'd say he's probably best known for wearing sunglasses. Whenever you see him on stage, he's wearing sunglasses, and doesn't have like this young sort of look. In fact, he barely smiles, so I don't know what that grin is. But yeah, this is just a terrible face for Duff. Now going down to the torso, this is actually a really good part of the figure. He has this really cool leather jacket with like this polka dotted shirt underneath, and there are actually images of him wearing this on stage, and it's actually really accurate. As you can see there, it's got like the collar on the jacket, it's got zips, all over it, and buckles, and it just looks really detailed and nice. Then going down to the legs, they're not so detailed. However, the buckles do carry over from the top part, and there's some creases, and you can see the bottom of his shoes. He also comes with the same guitar as Slash, but in white. There's not really much to comment on that. Now, on the side, you can see that his arm is printed with, like, the seam of the jacket. It's all in grey, and he's also got this zip down here. He's also got a little bit of printing underneath, but you can't really see it. It's just a few lines to show the bottom of his jacket. And on his legs, he's also got just this little bit of grey to show where his boots are. Now, on the back of the figure, you can see that the jacket design is carried over, and you can see the creases and lines of the leather jacket. This is really nice and detailed. And on the back of his legs, you can see the bottoms of his shoes. Now, next up is a really interesting figure, and this is Frank Ferrer. He's their new drummer, and the pictures that I've seen of him online are actually very similar to this. However, this is a first in my videos. He comes with an accessory that is brick built, and this is, of course, his drum kit. I'm just going to quickly gloss over this one. He's got like a snare, I guess you could say, over here. It's in the wrong place, though. He's got a little cymbal over here. He's got his bass drum, and he's got 2 lights. It's actually really nice that he comes with this. However, you're here for the figure. Now, Frank is actually one of the better figures, in my opinion. So let's start off with the top. He's wearing a beanie, which he always wears on stage. Well, pretty much most of the time. And then going down to his face, this is spot on. With his glasses, his grin, and his beard, this is just perfect. Then going down to the torso, he has a cut-off jacket. This is in grey. It's got a lot of the same detail on his duff, actually, with like the zips and the collar and a few buttons and all of that, and some pockets. And he's also got a black t-shirt underneath. You can barely see what it says. It's sort of cut off. It just says "lot" at the moment. And he's got like a little logo on his chest, although, to be honest, I'm not really sure what that is. You can also see the top of his neck. And then his legs aren't very detailed at all. They're mainly like a very, very, very dark navy. However, you can see the bottom of his shoes, and there's a little bit of the zip that carries over to the legs. And of course, how could I forget to say about his drumsticks? Now, going over to the side, this is another really detailed part of the figure. You can see like the cut off underneath the arm where it shows like his skin, and then the rest of the jacket. And that has some lines on it just to show where it's been sewn. And his arms are tattooed, of course. And something I find really interesting about this figure is that where he's got skulls on his arms normally, they've actually just put like Lego skulls, and this is just really cool. And there's some other detailing around there to show where his tattoos are. There are also different tattoos on his sides, and there's a little bit of detail on the side of his legs, and there's a line going down, and you can just about see where his boots are. Now, on the back of the figure, the design is almost identical to Duff's, showing where it's been sewn up, and there's a few creases on the back there, and you can also see where it carries over where his arms are coming out. And on the back of the legs, you can see there's a tiny bit of detailing where you can just about see the back of his shoes. And tell you what, for a not very well-known person, this is just a really cool figure. Now, next up is DJ Ashba, or DJ Ashba. I don't really know how to pronounce it properly. If somebody can let me know in the comments how to properly say it, I'd be very grateful. Now, this guy's been a guitarist for Guns N' Roses, but he's also in a band called 6 AM, with the bassist from Motley Crue, Nicky Six. And in fact, Motley Crue would be a really cool band to have in Lego form. But getting back to DJ Ashba, this is another very detailed figure. Starting off with the hair, he's got like a Mr. T haircut, and that's perfect for this figure. He's then got a grey bandana with some blood on it, although it does make his face look very squashed. His eyes are perfect as well, because he's known for having a lot of makeup around his eyes, and I think this shows it very well. You can just about see his eyebrows, and he's got a bit of a smile, although I don't know why all of these are smiling, because they never really smile. He's also got the same guitar as Slash and Duff, but in like a metallic grey. Then going down to the torso, he's got this really weird shirt with like a swirl in the middle, and there's like a lot of splats of like, I think it's paint and blood. I'm not sure really, all I know is just it's very detailed. Then going down to his legs, this is just absolutely crazy. There's so much detail on this, I don't know where to start. Although, to be honest, I don't really know what he's wearing. There's more like paint and blood splattered on there. There's also other bits of clothing. I really don't know what this is. He's also got these nice little tips of shoes down here. More detailed than the other figures. Now on the side, you can see there's more detail. He has the same sort of thing that Frank had, where you can see his arm coming through up here. And then the bottom, there's some more grey with some splatters on there. The same with the legs, there's more splatters, and you can see his shoes wrapping around. He's also got a tatted up arm in this red colour, and you can see the side of his hair. However, it's annoying that the bandana doesn't loop around. The other side of this figure is completely different, more detail, and there's splats everywhere of blood and paint. more detailing on his arm is covered, and there's some more detailing on his legs and his shoes, more fabric wrapped around there. I really don't know what to call this. Then on the back of this figure there's more detail, more splats of red and white all over the back, loads of lines. You can see the bottom of his shoes, and there's creases in his back. However, there's a problem which I've never found before in a figure with this figure, and this is that I like to have a lot of detail on my figures, but this sort of steps over the mark where it's so detailed you can't even tell what it is anymore, and that's sort of a shame. Now next up is another guitarist who's been in the band, and this is Bumblefoot. First of all, what kind of name is Bumblefoot? And second of all, this is actually a pretty good figure. He's got a different guitar to everyone else. This is what I want to call a V-body guitar. It's in gold. And these final 3 figures all have the same guitar, just in different colours. Now the figure itself is actually pretty accurate. The hair is like the Aquaman hair, but in black. The face is also spot on. Finally, we've got a figure who isn't smiling. He's got a bit of a beard going on, and his eyes sort of look dead, which is kind of scary. Then going down to the torso, this is probably the most detailed part of the figure. He's got a brown jacket on, and you can actually see his bare chest underneath. And he's got a cross necklace. This jacket, though, is really nice, with like all the lines and the buttons, and you can see some pockets on there. It's just really nice and detailed. You can also see his belly button right there. Then going down to the legs, he's also wearing jeans where you can see the bottom of his shoes, pretty much the same as all the other figures. He's got a few creases on there. However, on this figure you can see he's wearing a belt. Now on the sides, the arms are exactly the same on both sides, where you can see some creases, and you can see where like the cuff is of the jacket, which is in like a tan colour, and you can also see where it's been sewed together. There's also a little bit of detailing under the arms, just where the lines are crossing over from the front. He's also got the classic sides of the legs where you can see his shoes are carrying across, and you can also see a few creases, and you can see where his jeans have been sewn together. Now on the back there's also some detail, where you can see the back of his shoes, there's a few creases on the back of the legs, his belt is wrapped across, and you can see the back of his jacket with more just sewn lines, and there's a few creases in the back as well. Now next up is Tommy Stinson. Not a very well known member of the band, but this figure is actually really cool. His hair is in this grey colour, and it's just like this messy hair. It actually fits really well, and I've never actually seen this hair mould before, so that gets a thumbs up from me. His face is a bit off, where you can't actually see his real age because it sort of makes him look young, but the main part of this figure is, of course, this really cool suit in this really nice checkered pattern, and it is absolutely all over this figure. You can see that he's wearing like a dicky bow, and he's got a white shirt underneath, and of course he's got this checkered jacket where you can see the collar and there's a few buttons, and you can see where it goes up in the middle. His legs are pretty much the same, with the pattern just going down, and you can see the tips of his black shoes. He also has the same guitar as Bumblefoot, this time in cream. The sides of this figure are also covered in this pattern on the arms, legs, and the sides of the torso, and you can see the bottoms of his black shoes, and the same is for the back. However, this time you can see a few lines just to show you where the back of his jacket is, and you can see, of course, the black at the bottom of the legs just to show where the shoes are. And finally, the final figure of the collection is Richard Fortus, and I've got to be honest, I've never heard of this guy before. However, I've looked at some pictures, and this figure is okay. He's got this black swooped across hair. For once, at least one of these figures actually looks sort of accurate to the age, where you can see some creases in the face. However, it's just sort of like a generic looking face, to be honest. Then going down to the torso, he's got a leather jacket on with some creases and some zips, just like Duff's leather jacket. However, this leather jacket has some pads on the corners. He's also wearing this undershirt. It says NYC, and it has like an eagle on it. He's then just got plain black legs with like a little bit of the zip carrying over from the torso. He also has this V-body guitar, this time in like a brown colour. Then on the sides, you can see what I mean about the pads on the sides of the leather jacket right up here. It's very hard to see though with like the light shining on it. He also has a little bit of a zip here on the arms of the leather jacket. Now on the back, you can just about see the dark grey creases in the back of his jacket, and he's also got the pads continuing from the sides. So guys, here are the figures at the end, and as I like to always do at the end of these videos, I'm going to say which is my favourite and which one is my least favourite. I'll probably say my least favourite is probably Richard Fortus back here. It's just he's not a very interesting figure. To be honest, he's not really a famous member of the band, and the design on that figure just isn't interesting anyway. And I'd probably say my favourite, I think, is actually Axl, just because he's probably the most famous member of the band, but his figure's really detailed and it just looks so much like him. Now, I've got to be honest, this collection of figures is actually alright overall. But I've got to be honest, I prefer them to replace this back row. Maybe keep DJ Ashba. I think that's quite a cool figure. But it would be really nice to have Steven Adler and Izzy Stradlin from the original lineup of the band, just so we had the originals. And also Buckethead, I think that would be a really interesting figure to have, and it'd be really striking when you look at it. But oh well, this is a pretty good collection. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video of these LEGO Guns N' Roses figures. If you're interested, I have a video on another LEGO rock band, and that is Kiss. And that was the first ever custom LEGO minifigures video I made, so go and check that out. I'll leave that in the description, the card and the end card, so there's no way you can miss it. And whilst you're at it, go and check out my other custom LEGO minifigure videos. I've got a load of them now, and odds on there's probably something there that you'd like. So guys, I have been Luke from RetroRevival. Like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all later. Bye.